Imagine waking up, reaching for something on the bedside table, and your shoulder immediately reminds you it's there. That stiffness when you lift your arm, that pulling sensation when you reach overhead, or that sharp pinch when you try to put on a jacket. If this sounds familiar, you're not alone. Shoulder pain is one of the most common musculoskeletal problems after 60, and it's a major reason people lose independence in everyday tasks like dressing, cooking, or reaching for objects. But here's what most people don't realize. In many cases, shoulder pain after 60 is not caused primarily by arthritis or wear and tear. It's caused by weakness, poor coordination, and loss of control in the muscles that are meant to stabilize the joint. The good news? That means it's often fixable. Today, we'll go through 3 proven, research-backed movements that help strengthen your shoulders, improve control, and reduce pain, even if stiffness or discomfort has been limiting you for years. No gym, no heavy weights, just 3 exercises that restore what aging shoulders gradually lose. To understand why these movements work, we first need to look at what actually happens to the shoulder after 60. The shoulder is the most mobile joint in the body, and that mobility comes at a price. Unlike the hip, which is deeply seated and stable, the shoulder relies almost entirely on muscles for alignment and control. As we age, several changes happen quietly. The tendons of the rotator cuff become less elastic, blood supply to these tissues decreases, and the small stabilizing muscles that center the arm bone in the socket lose strength and timing. Imaging studies show that structural changes in the shoulder are extremely common with age. Partial tears, tendon degeneration, and irregularities are often present even in people without pain. What predicts pain and loss of function is not the image, it's how well the muscles work together. When the muscles that control the shoulder blade and the rotator cuff stop coordinating properly, the arm no longer moves smoothly. The joint becomes poorly centered. Tendons get compressed and everyday movements start to hurt. This is why resting alone rarely solves shoulder pain long term, and it's why strengthening the right muscle in the right order makes such a difference. Here's where to start. The first movement is seated scapular setting. Most people think shoulder pain comes from the arm. In reality, it often starts at the shoulder blade. The shoulder blade is the base from which the arm moves, and if it sits too high, too far forward, or tilts incorrectly, every arm movement places extra strain on the rotator cuff. Research consistently shows altered shoulder blade control in people with shoulder pain, especially after 60. Improving this control reduces pain and improves the effectiveness of all other shoulder exercises. Sit upright on a sturdy chair with your feet flat on the floor and let your arms rest comfortably at your sides. Now imagine gently drawing your shoulder blades slightly back and slightly down, as if guiding them toward the back pockets of your trousers. There should be no shrugging and no tension in the neck. Hold this position for about 5 seconds, then relax fully. You should feel mild activation between the shoulder blades, not tightness in the upper neck. Perform 10 repetitions, breathing normally. This exercise is about awareness and control, not force. Once you can activate this position comfortably, you're ready for the second movement. The second movement is external rotation with a band. One of the most important roles of the rotator cuff is to keep the arm bone centered in the socket during movement. After 60, the muscles responsible for this, especially the external rotators, are often weak and slow to activate. This allows the arm bone to glide forward or upward, contributing to impingement and pain. Targeted external rotation exercises are consistently linked to reduced pain and improved function in people with shoulder disorders. Attach a light resistance band at about elbow height to a stable point. Sit or stand sideways to the anchor. Bend your elbow to 90 degrees and keep it gently pressed against your side. Your forearm starts across your abdomen. Before you move, lightly set your shoulder blade using the position from the first exercise. Now slowly rotate your forearm outward, away from your body, keeping the elbow tucked in and moving only as far as you can without pain. Hold the end position for 2 to 3 seconds, then return slowly to the start. That slow tempo matters because longer time under tension improves muscle activation and joint control. Perform 2 to 3 sets of 10 to 15 repetitions, resting briefly between sets. The goal is not fatigue, it's precision. Now let's add controlled movement through range. The third movement is wall slides. Many painful shoulder movements happen overhead, reaching into cupboards, putting on clothes, or lifting light objects. Wall slides train the shoulder to move upward while maintaining control of both the shoulder blade and the rotator cuff. Stand with your back against a wall, heels a few centimeters away for comfort, with your head, upper back, and pelvis in gentle contact if possible. Raise your arms to the side with elbows slightly bent and the backs of your hands facing the wall. Before moving, lightly set your shoulder blades. Now, slowly slide your arms upward along the wall, staying within a pain-free range, avoiding shrugging or arching the lower back. Pause briefly at the top, then slide back down with control. Perform 2 sets of 10 repetitions. Studies show that exercises combining mobility and control like this improve shoulder function more effectively than stretching alone, particularly in people with rotator cuff-related pain. What makes these exercises effective is not intensity, it's consistency and coordination. Research on chronic shoulder pain shows that people who follow structured, progressive exercise programs for 6 to 12 weeks experience meaningful reductions in pain and improvements in daily function, even in the presence of age-related tendon changes. A simple routine looks like this: scapular setting for 10 repetitions, external rotation with the band for 2 to 3 sets of 10 to 15, and wall slides for 2 sets of 10 repetitions. This takes less than 10 minutes, and 3 times per week is sufficient for most people. Mild discomfort during exercise is not unusual. Sharp pain, increasing pain, or pain that lingers for hours afterward is a signal to reduce range or volume. The shoulder does not fail simply because of age. It fails when control, strength, and coordination quietly fade. The research is clear. Even after 60, these systems remain highly adaptable. So if shoulder pain has been limiting how you move, dress, or live your day, start here. 3 simple movements. No equipment beyond a light band and a wall. Not to chase perfect shoulders, but to rebuild stable, reliable ones that support you in everyday life. Start today. Give it a few consistent weeks, and you may be surprised how much easier those once painful movements begin to feel again.